Hello everyone, this is Clossi, and I'm back with another Clossi Approach video, and now we are starting the Clossi Approach to 19Q, which is basically a Clossi Approach to the 19 by 19, starting out, and basically, once you're out of the 20 Qs, I think it's about time to start being on the 19 by 19. There are things to learn from small boards, as we saw in the previous videos, so if you're at this point, watch those videos, make sure you have those tactics down. For new players, I do recommend 100 9 by 9, 100 13 by 13, and like 1000 19 by 19. Basically, you never stop. So at this point, let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to assume that you know or that you've watched. So I'm going to assume that you have watched the previous Clossi Approach videos. So for the cutting points, the 13 by 13, like the 3-3 evasions-ish, the small, simple stuff, pushing borders, how to start in open corners. I'm also going to assume that you have watched my beginner's lecture series. The reason that one is good, and I'll actually post this in chat as well for the Twitch chat that is watching me record this. The reason that one is important is because I pretty much introduced the basic concepts to the 19 by 19, and also I introduced life and death. And then I also have a joseki video, which I'll link both of these in the description below. So I have the beginner lecture series, I have the 9 by 9 and 13 by 13 in the Clossi Approach series, and my beginner josekis. It's a lot of information, but I want to stress that these are all stuff that I've kind of lectured about already. So I'm going to be showing you how to apply that stuff and giving you more examples. And then, of course, we have what we're looking at right here, which is the Clossi Approach document. Do I have weakness? Does my opponent have weakness? Where's the big move? So going into this, we're actually going to focus on, do I have weakness, and where is the big move? We're not going to really focus on our opponent's weaknesses yet until like 15Q, or maybe 17Q plus. We're going to understand big moves and defense. That's the two most important things to learn first. Okay? There are going to be some exceptions, which hopefully we'll go over more if we see examples of these. But the exceptions are pretty much going to be if they come inside our framework, if they invade us, then we can start attacking them. In other words, we can unsettle and surround. So that'll pretty much be our only time to attack for now. We'll add on more attacking later, but our focus is going to be defense and big moves. And that's what we're going to get into. So all these links will be in the description below. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. We do have a volunteer. Thank you to Cupcake Fury. This is a very funny picture. I love this. So we're going to start a challenge. And now we're actually going to change the rule set. We're actually going to change from Chinese rules to Japanese rules. The reason we're doing this is because the Chinese rules is really nice for beginners because it doesn't really punish you for playing in your own area. But at this point, we're going to start making a point to not play in our own area without reading it out. In other words, if you are reading a cut in your own area or some problem in your own area, I want you to now read it out and only fix if you see that there's something there. If you do not see that there's something there, I think it is better for you to leave it and get punished and lose the game and learn a new pattern than it is for you to waste a move on something you don't know how it works. Because now is the time to learn how it works. So no more playing just in case, no more like playing stuff out in our opponent's area. Only play that stuff if you can see how it works. If you don't see how it works, you can't defend it anymore. Up to this point it was fine, but now we're going to change the rule sets. The score difference should not change, but it will punish this rule set will punish us for wasting moves in our own area or wasting moves in our opponent's area. This is more common with most Western rule sets as well. So I'm in America, so I use the AGA rule set for tournaments. We do lose points like the Japanese rules if we play in our opponent's area and they just ignore us and our stone does nothing. So understanding that is important. If we see more examples, we'll go over it. But just for now, I wanted to explain why I'm using Japanese rules. If you don't fully understand it, it's okay. The point is we're going to be developing good habits. And I want to stress this point too. Skill is only half the battle. Good habits is the other half. Okay, there's a lot of bad habits that you can do in Go. Rushing, playing too fast, not checking things, look before you play, ask yourselves, don't panic when you make a mistake. All these habits we want to build starting now. Because the better habits we have now, the easier it will be to improve later. Because there are some ranks in Go that are harder than others. Like getting out of the 20 Qs to 19Q, 15Q, 10Q to 9Q, 5Q, 3Q to 1 Dan. Huge barrier right there. These barriers are going to be easier with stronger fundamentals. So the habits you are building now are to help you cross those barriers more easily later. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. We'll do 10 minutes, 30 seconds. That'll be fine. This will be a Clossi Approach video. This will not be ranked. 19 by 19, our color will be random, and Komi will be 6.5, which is normal. And it's a little bit unfair because I'm likely going to win with an even game and stuff, but I just want to show you guys, this is how you apply the concepts. So I'm going to go ahead and send the challenge. The reason I'm doing this is to not say that you're going to play this way. This is what you're working. Ooh, that is loud. I apologize to anyone who had earphones. Holy crap, that was loud. What was I saying? That scared the thought out of my mind. Okay, so greet your opponent, have a good game. Okay, we're going to do open corners. So I typically like the cross. Because if I play here, maybe my opponent plays cross. And I just like to avoid that for now until later. Alright. And now we can actually pick our openings. I completely forgot the thought that I had. I'm sorry. It scared the thought out of my mind. Okay, so what am I doing? I actually like playing the same opening for a certain amount of time and then changing it up. So I like to repeat openings, maybe for like 30 to 50 games at a time, and then I'll switch to a different opening. So my opening is white. It has to be flexible to your opponent because black usually gets to pick the opening. So what I'm going to do is I kind of have a rule for myself. I usually start across so I can avoid the cross joseki, because if I play here and then black plays here and then I play here, and there's no combination. I want to learn combinations first before I learn all that. Okay, so I start cross, and then I just pick this one depending on what they play. So if they play a 3-4, I'll play a 4-4. If I play a 4-4, I'll play a 3-4. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's kind of my opening as white. It lets me be flexible, and I also learn both the 3-4 and the 4-4. Okay, so he's playing open side. Perfectly fine. Okay, so we have 3 open sides. Top, left, and bottom. Okay. Top is 4-4, 4th line, 4th line. Left is 4th line, 4th line. Bottom is 4th line and 3rd line. So because it's the 3rd line, I'm going to go top or left, and let's just approach. Why not? Let's just approach. Start being active. I also like being active with start points. Enclosures can also be really nice and are also really good as well, especially in modern play. Modern, relevant to the time of this video. In 5 years from now, I have no idea what's going to be, so. Okay, and now we're going to play our joseki, which we should know from our joseki video. I do encourage you to learn some basic josekis, but I also want you to understand direction of play with josekis as well. But not knowing josekis, if your opponent does, you're going to be at a disadvantage just immediately. So you got to know at least a couple joseki. But you should learn more josekis as you get stronger. Okay, so this one's a very basic one. It's pretty much one of the first josekis we will ever learn is this one. If you don't know this one, you need to learn it because this is like the first one you learn. Maybe the second if you do the 3-3 now. Alright, so they do 3-3, and we know this one. I actually don't know exactly which ones I went over with the joseki video, but basically here, I'm just going to play... so there's 2 responses, Hane and Nobi, okay? And we're just going to talk about them, right? I don't know if you'll know exactly all the variations, but I'm going to talk about how I choose mine and why. So right now, I could go here and just play the normal variation, and that's fine. That's just thickness. But actually, I'm going to try and go for this extension. So to do that, I need Sente. So the Sente one is this Nobi. Okay, so I Nobi, he plays, I Hane, he plays, and he plays, and now I have Sente. If you don't understand this one, it's fine. You can just play your normal one. It doesn't really matter at this level. Just play for your position, okay? But I like this. It extends from the star point. It gets me to the open side. I'm looking at direction of play, which is the left instead of the bottom. And I'm just playing my joseki that goes that direction. So that's all I'm doing. If you don't know joseki, if If you don't know joseki, I could have showed it right here, but if you don't know joseki, just start playing defense. Watch your cutting points, make your base. Okay, so he plays here. I do have a cutting point, so I'm gonna just protect. Boom, protect. Don't care. If it's slow, I don't care. I don't care. At this level, we're not trying to play perfect. We're not trying to play fast. We are trying to play basics. We are trying to build good habits. So watch my cutting point. Okay, I'm strong. Now we're at open corners, open sides. Okay, we have all those, so now we're at big move. Okay, so largest framework. Okay, so I have mine. Black has theirs. Looks like black's line is a little bit higher than mine. So, but I also have a line. So what I like to do when there's a position versus a position is I like to push theirs down while building mine. So let's see. Here's the line. So I can just do a cap, shoulder hit, any of those. I could also shoulder hit. If I really wanted to push this line down, I could shoulder hit. But if I build while reducing, let's just do a cap. But any of these would be fine. It doesn't really matter. I could. Here we go. So I'm gonna flip a coin because strategy. Like I don't need high level tactics. I'm gonna flip a coin. Cap is heads. Shoulder hit is tails. Heads. So we're doing cap. Okay. Does not matter. I want you to understand. As long as you're playing a good move, it does not matter. Okay. So let's see. So someone is saying this is an open corner. I don't consider this an open corner because there's a stone in it. I consider this a not approach corner, but there's been an extension already, so I don't consider it an open side either. So to me, this is just a big move. There are exceptions like Shimaris and stuff that you can learn as you get stronger. The AI does say that the Shimari can be as big as an open side, but I'm not worried about that right now. So I'm just going to keep pushing. Boop. I'm just going to build while pushing this position down. No big deal at all. Okay. I am not going to 1 point jump ahead. This is a very common mistake. Pushing from behind is not good. We learned that at this level. Pushing from behind is not good. Okay? So as soon as we can, we want to jump ahead. But the 1 point jump ahead is also not good. Because if we play here, white pushes, I block, there's 2 cutting points. You know what we can do instead? Play a knight's move. That way we go 1 line past, so it's like a 1 point jump, but I only have 1 cutting point. So black push, I block, black cuts. 1 cutting point. Okay, and that's a ladder. That's easy enough to read. And that's our shape to get ahead without getting a lot of cuts. So this is a good shape to remember. And also, I want to stress, read your cutting points. This is something we learned on the small boards. We need to read the cutting points. It's the most important thing in middle game. So if you're going to play the Clossi approach, you have to do those methods while watching the cutting points. You have to make your base while watching the cutting points. You have to play the big moves while watching the cutting points. Super important. Okay, and all I'm doing is just pushing them down. So I'm going to watch my cutting point. So if I play, he plays, I play, he might Nobi. Okay. I'm just going to play defense. I don't care. And I'm just getting control of the big framework. Yeah, black's getting all this. Oh no, he's getting something. I don't care. Mine's bigger. Okay, this cutting point is a ladder. I check the cutting point. I see it's okay, so I'm going to keep playing a big move. Okay, I'm going to push while building. We do not have to worry if our opponent gets a position. It doesn't matter. As long as we're on the big position, be it ours or our opponent's, as long as we are playing the big stuff, it doesn't matter what they get. And that's one thing I want to stress. It's okay if they get something because you're getting more. It's okay. You can't stop them from getting anything ever. All right, so he played that one shape that I just talked about. So this is attacking, but I'm going to just show you. So when they play a pre-peeped 1 point jump like this, I have a stone, it's 1 point jump. I can push and look at the cuts. One is a tiger's mouth, so it's actually only 1 cut, not 2. So this one's actually okay. But I'm not going to worry about it, because I'm not really attacking right now. I'm just going to keep pushing. Push, 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 push. All right. I'm not really worried about attacking, so I can keep pushing. But let's just start going this way. The reason I'm doing this, actually, I can go here. I can go here. Basically, I've pushed it down. He's blocked. Let's just move on. Do I have a weak group? It doesn't have a base, but it has like a million escape routes. Like, I control this area. I can't get surrounded. But if you're worried about it, we can just 1 point jump. Or we can just move on and do the next thing, which is 1 point jump to build. Which is nice. We have the big area, so we can build it this way. We can build it this way. Just 1 point jumps, shoulder hits, and caps. Right? Simple shapes, easy to use. I'm just gonna do this. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I can guess at these. Like, it doesn't matter, right? We don't have to play perfect. We just have to play our basics. Stay connected. 1 point jumps are connected, and play on the big framework. That's what we're doing. We can play defense by 1 point jump. We can build with this 1 point jump. We could even shoulder hit to push them down while building. It's also all fine. Okay, and I'm just going to cap because he's trying to walk in, and I want to control this area. Now, does this mean that this is all going to be mine? Absolutely not. This is not my territory. No freaking way this is my territory. What it is my control. I control this area. Okay? The reason control is so nice is because I'm saying in this section of the board, I will get more than black. Why is this statement so important? Because Go is about exchange rates. It's not about saying I'm going to get 100 points, because the first one to get 100 points wins is absolutely not true. Like, you do not win by getting 100 points. You don't win by getting 60 points, and you don't win by getting 10 points. You win by getting 1 point more than your opponent. So what I care about is the exchange rates. Okay, so this control, I'm getting control of an area that will let me get a positive exchange rate in this area. Okay, so I'm just blocking. But here, I'm actually going to have to start watching out, because a little bit of a pitfall might happen. If he keeps walking left, and I just keep blocking and blocking, these 4 stones might get cut off. What comes before big move? This block is a big move. I am blocking this area that I control. But what's more important than blocking, what's more important than big move, is defense. Why am I saying defense? Because these 4 stones, this area is their base. Okay? So if you start coming in and cutting me off from this stone, my support, then I need to block this area, because this area is my base. This is my eye space. This is how I'm alive. It's how I'm okay. So without this, I have a weak group. So this is much more important than this. I don't care if it looks smaller. Defense first. Because if you get attacked, it's a negative exchange rate. And that's what you care about, the exchange rates. Okay, he goes in. He touched. So touch, our response, first response is going to be a Hane. And my second response is a Nobi. Okay, so first, let's consider the first response. I Hane, because touch, I lose liberties. So Hane. Okay, check my cut. He cuts. I connect. And I'm not actually sure what he'd do next, but I think I'm pretty okay. I could also Nobi, but I'm going to have to Hane eventually. So I'm just going to Hane. It seems okay. As long as I stay connected right here, I only have 1 problem. And I can deal with 1 problem. 1 problem's okay. 1 problem's easy to deal with. Okay. Fix my cut. Easy peasy. Defense first. That's all I'm looking at. Defense first. I could try to block, but then I have cutting points. So just fix. Just defense. Okay. And I'm going to block my area. But I also might be worried about my base. If you think black will go in, and take your base, then block. If you don't, if you think you can play one more, and then black goes and then block, that's also fine. Let's say you're playing defense. I don't care. Let's lose this area. I don't care. Defense first. Blindly follow the basics. Okay? It'll work out. Who cares? Yeah, this move, I can get away with this move, and then he plays and then I block. That's also okay. But who cares? Maybe you don't play perfect. Maybe you just defense first. He walks in. Don't care. Just big move. Just playing big moves. All right. So he walks in. Okay, so now I have to reevaluate. Where's the largest framework? Probably this one, but it's already blocked. So maybe the center, the left, or the top. I don't know. Getting fourth line territory is really big, so I'm just gonna get fourth line territory. I'm just gonna get. All I'm gonna do is get value. I'm unsure. It's all okay. I'm just gonna get value. Just keep getting value. Okay, I think this is small because I'm not cuttable. I'm checking my cutting points. There's no cut. I have eye space right here. It looks like I don't have a base, but I actually have a lot of space right here. If you think you have to defend, then you can defend with that knight's move to surround this space. But I think I'm okay, so I'm just gonna get another big move. So I want to build the top. So I could build the top here, or I can enclose it, because if I build, he can just reduce with these. But let's just say I jump. I don't care. Just jump. Just build. Just build the top. The top is big. Watch my cutting points. Defense first. No thought. Defense first. Defense first. Defense first. Just solid shapes, solid connections. Defense first. I don't have to defend this. I think it's perfectly okay. I probably could have ignored, but who knows? Maybe there's something there. Just defense first. I'm not trying to play perfect. I'm trying to show you that it's okay to play defense. Okay. I'm going to block my top side because you're trying to reduce on that line of influence. So I'm going to block with a capping move. Block with a capping move. I'm going to encourage an invasion. If you don't invade me, this is all mine. Or I can reduce. Reducing is also fine. Alright, so he threw threes. Okay, which side do I want? Top side or left side? Let's say top. That's fine. We'll just play a simple variation. Boop, Hane, because that's our Joseki. Nobi. And now I actually have this stone to take into account. So when he plays, I actually don't have to Nobi again. I can just block with the Tiger's Mouth. Other stones can change the Joseki. So now normally I would Nobi here, but because I have this stone, I can actually play a Tiger's Mouth because there's no cut. Ta-da! No cut. There's a double peep, but who cares? No reading. Just defense. And block with the cap. All right. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Black might have a little bit more because we actually never attacked anything. Who cares? What am I learning right now? Good habits. I'm blocking my areas. I'm staying solid and connected. I'm doing good things. Okay. Block. All right. Do I have a cutting point? Here we go with the Japanese rules. We're not going to just block blindly. We're going to say, okay, black cuts. This stone has 2 liberties against the edge, so I Nobi. Black goes. Now I can Hane. Black Ataris, I connect. Black can't escape. I don't see anything with this one. Nope, I don't see anything. So I'm going to ignore. But there's a secret. There is a clamp. But that we don't know that shape yet, right? If we learn that, if we do Go problems, which I'll also link below, the one-on-one Wei Chi site. If we do Go problems, we can learn the clamp. But I want to show you that if you don't know something, don't fix it. Okay? Don't fix it. So what are we in? Joseki. Why? Because we're pushing borders now. I would rather lose this game than not learn a new pattern. Okay? So let's push the borders. Second line Sente first. Boom. Second line Sente. This is actually considered a slightly bad move, I believe. Because letting them fix that. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that. That's 12Q. That's 12Q. Okay, and do I need to fix this? Cut. Atari. There. That ladder is good for black. I made a slight blunder. Because this is, if I fix, this was Gote, and you're supposed to play Sente first. 10, 9, okay. 8, but I was reading that I could 7, do that, make a net. 6, 5, or something. 4, 3, or do some forcing moves. 2. Let's just fix. I don't care. I made a mistake. I think there was other ways I could keep Sente, but it's fine. That's reading. Who cares? I made a mistake. I lost Sente. Alright, he plays. I have push and cut and ladder. That is a ladder breaker, so I'm going to fix, but not with empty triangle. I'm going to fix a bamboo joint. Good shape. Bamboo is better than empty triangle. And your hint for that is a peep to a 1-point jump. If you already have a stone, then consider the bamboo instead of the empty triangle. Okay, I'm going to stay connected. So I can just block. Or here. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Too much thinking. Too much thinking. Just stay connected. Defense first. Defense first. So one thing I'm curious about is how far I can get without attacking stuff, except for invasions, of course. Because I actually lost a lot of center by not cutting things. But this is 16Q. I think I can get to 17Q without cutting things. But it's okay. I wanted to show this first. Okay, push the borders. Second line first. Second line Sente first. I'm actually really curious how many games or how many ranks can you get without attacking anything except for invasions. Second line Sente. Yay, second line Sente. Joseki basics, second line Sente. What does the Clossi Approach say? It's on my mug. Joseki, first and second line Sente. Second line. Alright, now first line Sente. If you can do this, if you can have second line Sente and first line Sente, then push the borders in Sente, your game will likely be 20 points better than everyone else at this level, at least. Okay, push the borders in Sente. Push the borders in Sente. Okay, push the borders in center. No, I'm reading. Like, there's some. I want to read so many things just by habit, and I'm trying not to. Push the borders in Sente, which also threatens a cut. Push the border in Sente. I'm not sure if I'm being too fancy here. I'm trying. Some shapes, maybe it's too much, but I don't know. Maybe it'll inspire you to try things. Maybe I'll just show you better shapes. Just push the border in Sente. Nope, no reviews today. Just Clossi Approach. Push the border in Sente. Stay connected. That is one stone, but it's okay. If he takes some, if he plays a Sentai move and you have to respond, it's okay. Like, I lose 1 stone. I don't care. You know how many points I've gotten for this 1 stone? Okay. Push the border and Sentai. I don't know. Just pushing stuff. Just gonna keep pushing stuff. We're not killing anything. We're gonna block. Cutting points. Come on. Come on. I was pushing your cutting point. Gotta block. Gotta block. Okay. Push the border in Sentai. 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 Sometimes you actually kill things. Like, I might actually just kill it if I... not quite. No, I won't kill it. But yeah, sometimes you can actually just kill things by accident and by doing that. Alright. I don't think I have any push the border in Sentai anymore. So now let's play a big move.
10, 9, 8,
this is really big for black.
7, 6, 5.
This is
4,
big.
3.
Maybe this one is more this level. Just block something big. It's okay. No attacks, just big moves and defense. Block. He's pushing my borders. 1 stone is... So this is one thing I think is a little tricky to understand at first. No. I was worried J5 would kill earlier, but it doesn't kill anymore because you just live right there. So this is one thing I actually want you to learn, but it's actually really tricky to learn at first. 1 stone is not worth saving. Okay? There's a difference between a group and stones. So a group
10,
is if, like, these
9,
3 stones died,
8,
or these 2 stones died, this whole area
6,
becomes black.
5,
But 1
4,
stone is not that
3,
big.
2, 1.
So it's okay to
0.
sacrifice 1 stone. It's really not big at all. But the exception is cutting stones. So the things that is weakness that you defend is groups, which means stones that represent an area, not just 1 or 2 stones, or cutting stones. Group and cutting stones. Okay?
10.
That's
9,
what you save.
8, 7.
6, this is big now. And I'm gonna fix with the tiger's mouth. Connection is usually better. That's a cutting point. I'm gonna defend. Oop, just defend. Connection's usually better, but so tiger's mouth is good for specialties. If I needed eyes, in this case I don't, but if I needed eyes, that would be good. Or if my opponent can Hane right here, and I block and I have a cutting point, well, the tiger's mouth gives it no cutting point. So this is good on this shape. Okay, so he goes here. I'm still connected, so it's not defense, so
8,
big move.
7.
Don't care. He responds, I'll just fix. Okay. Where's a big move? I don't know. Here? Just find a big move. Play it. Connect. Because that would help him walk in. Yeah, I'll block. That's cutting points. A12. A12 is a big move, but you would have Hane, so it'd be A13. That's big, so I'm gonna block. That's definitely Sentai. Block. It's okay. Your opponent can have Sentai too. It's not the end of the world. I actually don't know if I'm winning. I haven't counted. I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying to play basics and build good habits. This is what it's supposed to look like. And if it's close, Like, if it's within 20 points, it's really close. I think at this level, if it's within 30 points, it's considered close. Block. And fix my cutting point. 9x9 basics. Second line cuts. If it's within 30 points at this level, that is a win to me. Okay? Playing basics within 30 points, that's a win. I didn't die anywhere. I don't have a 50-point dead group. Okay? I didn't let him live in my area because he never really invaded. And if he lived small, that's okay. We'll get more examples of these. Like, this is just the first game, right? There's gonna be a lot more examples. Oh, I had a sent him. I should have pushed and then blocked. Oops. 1 point loss. Yep. Oop. So as long as the game looks like this and it's within 30 points at 19Q, to me, that's a win. I don't care. I'm not gonna get stressed about losing to someone who played well. Okay, so I can block. That's fine. I also go down here and push stuff. I block right here. Okay. Fixing this cutting points at the end can be good, yeah. I'm just gonna block my points. Winning is not really the goal right now. Right now is the goal is to learn movement and good habits. Winning will come naturally when you have good habits. Technically, it's really hard to win if you never attack. But right now we have to build defense habits first. So that's why winning isn't so important. When we start adding on attacking, we're going to have like very easy wins. Like instantaneous victories. Because attacking is pretty much, if trading big moves is equal exchange rates, unless your basics are better. If your basics are better, you're gonna trading big moves is gonna be a positive exchange rate. Like in this game, the big moves was in my favor, but defense is a negative exchange rate, and attacking is a positive exchange rate. So attacking is actually where you gain your lead, and then trading big moves is where you make sure that you're still playing your skill level. Blocking here was actually better than this one. Who cares? We don't have to play perfect. We don't have to play perfect. I don't care about playing perfect. Good habits. Block, block. Defense. Good Yosei. Playing Sente. Defense. Defense. So we're actually almost at the end. So another common pitfall is when you're filling these dame points, these neutral points, sometimes it actually activates cutting points like this and this. On this board, there's not a good example of it, but in the future and in your games, sometimes it will come up, and it comes up pretty often. Maybe like 1 in 10 games, maybe even 1 in 5, where you start filling dame, and it activates a cutting point, and maybe someone doesn't see it. So be very wary of those. At the very end, it's a good way to trip up and lose the game at the very last second. Imagine if he played right here and then this activated a cut and I broke in. He lost 10 points. A good way to lose the game instantly. It's okay if those happen, but we do want to start training our eyes to look for those near the end. All right, so that's pretty much it. So the last thing is this ko. And we are going to fight it because we want to build a habit to always try to play the big move, always fight for every point. It's a good fighting spirit. We also don't know the score exactly. And if you don't say that this ko is worth fighting, you have never lost the game by half a point. Ko's are worth fighting at the end. Always fight these. Always fight these. Unless you count the ko threats and you just know you don't have enough. All right, so he plays ko threat. I'm going to fix. He takes. Now, one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to play a ko threat that loses me points. That is very bad. Okay, so the way I find a ko threat is first check any local. There's no local threats. So now let's look for threats on the rest of the board. You want to find the biggest threats first, if you can, but these are fine. If you find these, they're fine. But I'm going to go here first, because I think this is a pretty large threat to kill this whole corner. Big threats first, and then you can go for the little threats. It's a little good habit, but it's okay. If you just played these, I mean, it doesn't matter. As long as you don't lose points playing a ko. Because that would be a big mistake. Like, imagine I played right here, or that one, And it does no follow-up. So he plays this one. What does it do? Okay. Am I going to die in the corner? No. That's 2 liberties to 5 liberties. Okay. He runs away. I block him against the edge, like here or here.
10,
He has
9,
3 liberties to 5
8,
liberties.
7,
Plus, that's 4 in a row.
6,
This is not
5,
a co-threat.
4.
If you responded to it, it's okay. There's still more co-threats on the board. But we need to practice these reading. We don't always want to assume that their co-threat's a co-threat. Not at this level. At the time, the co-threats are not co-threat. So we have to read it. Okay? We need, like, this is just cutting stuff. Am I gonna die? No. Is he gonna escape? No. If he plays Hane, I capture Atari and put him to the edge. If he runs, I can literally just live with 4 in a row. So I gained 2 points.
Remove the dead
Pass.
stones.
Remove the dead stones. Double check, because this is not always correct. Alright, looks good. Oh. I love this. I love this.
Wins.
Black wins by half a point. Half a point. And the board broke for some reason. I don't know. There. Black wins by half a point. That's an amazing game. And this is why Ko's are worth fighting. We thought we were behind by a lot, right? Or like by several points. We thought we were behind by several points. But guess what? It was close. That Ko could have decided the game. My point exactly. I love this. I love that we fought this Ko. Yeah, great job, Zeno. Like, Zeno, you are Cupcake? Yeah, great job, Cupcake. You won the game by half a point. It's amazing. I will point out, though, you did have a small weakness because you did play this game with us. So I do want to point out there was a small little hiccup right here. You were not watching your cutting points. Yeah, endgame could have changed the game. I love this. This is a great first example. Half a point? I don't care that I lost. What a great game. Half a point game. That's so close. We both played so well. That is worth being happy about. Even if you lose. Right? I think it's worth being happy about. Alright, just for Cupcake's benefit, I do want to point out that you actually were trying to play reductions in here. With cutting points. So, like, for example here. This is 1 cut. Yes, you can cut me back. But what if I just sacrifice 1 stone to keep my area? Okay. I can cut here. And there's 2 cuts. I did let you in here. Like, I talked about how we could easily still block our base, but it's okay to make mistakes. Here, there's another cut, which I think you ended up seeing. And then you can't even, like, break into mine, because it's an Atari. So there's a lot of... You gotta watch your movement here. Like, moving into an area, you need to play solid shape and watch those cutting points when you move. Like, you had the right idea. You built the bottom right very well. But even the bottom right has cutting points, right? So, like... Here... If I play here, and you block, I break in. And then if I play here and you disconnect, then I break in. So what you're doing is fine up until your opponents learn attacking, but you're supposed to learn attacking. You're supposed to learn to attack cutting points, I think, at 17 or 16Q. So since you're 16Q, I think that's the mistakes that you were making. But otherwise, it was a decent game. I think, unfortunately, blocking yours, though, isn't going to be good enough. You should have also went in mine, like reduce here or reduce there, because mine was technically bigger. All right, with that, hopefully you found that helpful. Thank you so much for being our little guinea pig here. But let's go ahead and look at what we did to create this half-point game. All right, so again, I talked about how I usually avoid this while learning. This is an unconventional opening. Neither side has a combination, so it's going to be a big fight. And I would say learn opening combinations first. I wouldn't even worry about it. Just play across. Eventually, it's okay. Eventually, you can play that, and it's okay. But just play cross for now. And then here I talked about like just the different openings. Like if black plays star point, play 3-4. That way you just learn both. As white, it's better to be a little bit flexible to their opening, but as black, you can play the exact same thing. Chinese opening is here. It's 5 space from the 3-4. Extensions are 5 space jumps, but it's better to extend from a 3-4 point than a 4-4 point, just because it's a little bit more territory. Okay, so we approached perfectly fine. We played our joseki perfectly fine. Then we played here. We could have played this perfectly. This is okay. Who cares, right? Who cares? And if white goes here, I don't care. Make my base. 2 stones, jumps 3. Make my base. I don't care. Block my corner. Then he jumps. I don't care. I have a base. I'm playing basics. Don't care. But if you're clever, and this one thing I want to talk about is don't play the joseki just because that's the joseki. Okay? Be flexible with your josekis. So if you only know this one, that's fine. But as you get stronger and you learn more josekis, and this is, you want to look up the josekis that are relevant to your opening. You want to study josekis using a joseki dictionary and stuff. You want to learn more and more josekis as you get stronger. But one thing you don't want to do is develop the habit of playing only this joseki, because then you lose opportunities. Like for example, this one. Extension from the star point's pretty big, so why not play this joseki and get a double extension? It's a good combination. So why not pick a joseki that works with not only the left side, which I said what I liked bigger than the bottom. You can go bottom side too. They're both equal distance. I just thought I like the 4th lines better than the 3rd line. But not only did I go to the direction that I wanted, but I also played one that gave me a nice little combination. So you want to be clever with your josekis. You don't have to do this right off the bat. But you want to work towards this. This is why I tell you to have a minimum of 4 josekis for each approach in the joseki video. 1 high, 1 low, and both sides, both directions. That way you can be flexible to the board. Okay, now I just start playing defense, fix my cuts, don't care. You don't have to fix this one, but it's okay. Black played and built this side, so black's getting a little bit bigger, so I chose a reduction. I literally flipped a coin between this and this. Doesn't matter. You want to play on the line of influence? It's fine. Anywhere on that line. I think the common shapes to learn at this level are going to be caps and shoulder hits. Maybe a cap right here. I think learn those first. And you could also cap right here, I think. It's a little bit behind the line, but it has a lot of escape routes. So maybe that one's not obvious. But let's say you just have these 4 options. I don't care which one you play, as long as you're playing the basic options. We can talk about how to identify which one's better than the others as we get stronger. But if we don't even see these 4 options, how can we even talk about which one's better? We're not even looking at the right moves. Like if you're looking at this move, why? That's second line, it's touching, it's too deep. Like, why? Right? But there's also another way to play large framework. On this board, it was influence versus influence, so we wanted to choose a reduction. Let's say I had territory and black had stones over here. I had no influence. Then I could also choose invasions. Invasions are the 3-3 point. So like here, this one's a little bit tricky, so I don't know if I'd want that one right off the bat. But invading like a 4, like he did right here, invading us 4-4 at the 3-3 is an invasion point that you should know. This one's possible, but really complex. So maybe that one, I don't know. You can try it if you want. But approaching 4th line stones. Approaching 4th line stone. That's an easy invasion point. Okay. So in this one, I would say there's like 5 beginner level moves. Now the follow-ups are not super easy to use, but this will set you up with the starting moves. Then we'll talk about the follow-ups with practice and more game examples. And then at that point, you'll be able to play these moves, and they're good moves. They're not bad. They're maybe not quite beginner, but they're like the level right past beginner. Okay, and then the follow-ups combined with these moves, it makes it decently easy to use. So I recommend learning the correct moves first. That way you're learning efficiently. That way you're not just guessing at a move and like, okay, how do I... let's just play a move right here. How do I follow this move up? What theories are you using for this move, right? How do we just say at a random point, let's talk about follow-ups. No, let's give ourselves some theories and some starting points so we're not just lost. So we're not just guessing. Let's just start with something that's simple, has simple follow-ups, and then we learn those, then we learn the follow-ups, we mess it up and learn the follow-ups. It's okay to lose, just mess it up, learn the follow-ups. And then all of a sudden we have some tools to work with. And then as we get stronger, we'll add on more shapes, like attachments and reading and forcing moves and all that other stuff. But let's start simple. Start with just some starting points. And then we're going to learn the follow-ups as we practice. Okay, so those are just the starting points. Okay, I flipped a coin. I didn't even care. Just learn them. So here I have actually two options. I could push or I can Knights move. Knights move is fine. It's like this, and then 1 point jump, run away, 1 point jump, run away, 1 point jump, run away. So this is called a windmill shape right here. So cross, Nobi, cross cut, Nobi to save this stone, Nobi to save this stone. Excuse me. And then 1 point jump to save the one that's getting surrounded. This one's got support, this one doesn't. So it's 1 point jump. And then black runs, I run. Let's say black runs, then I'll run. So it's just a bunch of 1 point jumps. So it's possible, but I just played this one. It's just easier. Because now, if I Knights move, like in the game, now it's just a ladder. I think we should know the ladder at this point. Just goes to the edge. I think we should know it just from Go problems and stuff. If you don't, just go through the list of Go problems that in the 101 White Cheat site. There's a lot in there. A lot. Start from the top, work your way down. But there is a ladder section, so if you aren't sure about ladders, well, guess what? There's a link in the description below, and I'll actually link it in chat as well. Click on that. Oh, if I can type it correctly. Click on that spreadsheet, go to ladders, and do some ladder Go problems. Learn that pattern. Anytime there's a pattern you don't know, nets, cuts, double Ataris, ladders, connections, do some exercises. Train your eyes. So here, we do have a Knights move. He did take a Liberty now, and this changes things. Why does it change things? Well, if he cuts right here, that's a ladder. Like, jump through, that's a ladder. But if he has this Liberty, and then does that, now he can save it. There's no ladder. One Liberty difference will change the result. So, defense. Fix your cut. This one's unnecessary. Check. So what did I do? I checked my cut, and I saw it's still a ladder. There's no ladder breaker, so I'm going to keep reducing. Okay, I'm going to keep pushing. I could Knights move again here, because this is a net, and this is still a ladder, and they don't affect each other. So I could Knights move here and just go in even further. But it's okay. I pushed. I mean, you're not going to play perfect. It's okay. And I 1 point jumped here. I also talked about here. Just build. Yours, white's is bigger than black's now, so just build it. 1 point jumps are really good for building. Build it like a bowl. Like find the base, right? So if the base is over here, the bowl already exists. Like, this can hold water. Now it's time to seal the lid. But let's say we thought the top side was it. Okay, here's the top. Here's one side of the bowl. I need the other side. Okay, so I can build it this way or I can build it that way. Both kind of work, but usually work from the edge. So this one might have made more sense basics-wise. But I was talking about how if you thought the A group was floating, in other words, it's not connected to a base yet, but it's very far from being behind enemy lines. Black would have to get up and up, so black needs 2 moves to put this group behind enemy lines. So it's pretty okay. It also has like support everywhere. It's hard to be attacked in an area that you control. But I was like, okay, if you're playing defense, you can 1 point jump. You can keep adding to it. That's fine. But we're also building while defending. That's fine. Then we just capped. We do have a Knights move, so we check the cut. The cut's okay. Also check not just pushing the cut, but jump through the cut. And then cut. That's okay as well. Always check your cutting points. Always check your cutting points. So it's just okay. Okay, same thing. Good. Good. Cap. Capping moves are really great. Capping moves are really great. Here, I told you if I keep going, my 4 stones will be attacked. Be very, very cautious of this. It's very easy to lose track of groups. This will likely take many games. This is why I recommend like 109 by 9, 113 by 13. Well, guess what? lose 119 by 19 games. Okay, this will train your eyes to start noticing like when you get weak groups. So if you notice, hey, I'm about to lose my base, protect it. Defense first. It's a higher priority. Okay, touch Hane is normal. So we check the cut, and I said we can go here. And now this is where this gets a little tricky. Crosscut. This shape is called a crosscut, where both sides are cut. This is actually really, really tricky for this level. Okay, but the way it works is you find the weakest one and you defend it. And now I'm connected right here because there's no cut. So now I have one problem, one stone. It's easy to play defense for one weakness. So let's say black runs. Well, guess what? I do my windmill. And now black is stuck in my area. I'm going to get a positive exchange rate, and I'm almost connected. I'm very happy with this. If black Atari'd, same thing. Black Atari'd this way, well, guess what? You're attacking yourself. So I was like, it's okay. If you weren't sure, you can Nobi first and then Hane, and then just Nobi. And this one's probably okay. There are some issues Liberty-wise for forcing moves and stuff, but it's maybe easier to handle. If you struggle with the crosscut, then just Nobi once and then Hane. And then it's a lot easier because you just have more Liberties to work with. So it might just be easier for you. So this shape is really difficult for this level. But maybe with more examples, you'll understand it better. So here is just defend the weaker side. Because this one was the one, if I defend this side, it's just go down. I'm in a little bit of trouble. It's still technically okay, but I can be squeezed, and it's really ugly. It's really ugly. This is the weaker one. It's the one that's getting surrounded faster. So defend the weaker one. But if you don't understand, back off, and then Hane. It's a little bit easier, but you want to learn it eventually. Okay, now he plays here. Now it's a completely different situation. It's no crosscut. Now it's 2 Liberties. I protect my cut. Okay? 1 Liberty difference, 1 stone different, completely different situation. Now, defend my cut. I don't care if black walks in. I'm prioritizing defense. Okay. Yeah, defense. Here, it's fine. Protect the base. The reason I was looking at that is because I want to block, but if I just keep blocking, remember, it's just basically like the other situation. I'm losing my base. Do not push your opponent to take your base. Watch your base. Defense first. That's why I played here. I could go here and then here. And there's 2 cutting points. But it's technically okay. Maybe you saw this variation. But what if I go boom, 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 boom? Well, there's another cut. But where do these black stones go? Nothing actually goes wrong. But this requires reading. So I was like, just defend. Just defend. You can do all kinds of cool stuff when you can read, but at this level, readings for smucks. Just check your cuts, check your bases, and play basics. It'll work out. It'll work out. Just watch your cuts and play basics. Watch your cuts, play basics. It'll work out. So I built. I could have also capped here. I actually wasn't sure which one was more basic to build the top. But it's fine. I just played. It doesn't have to be perfect. I defended my cut. This cut actually doesn't work. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. It doesn't quite work. But maybe if black does this. Maybe I'm worried about getting attacked. I don't know. There was like forcing moves, and I was like, I just see stuff. I'm just going to defend whatever. But maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I'm like, okay, there's no cut. I'm connected. Let's go play a big move. Technically speaking, that might have been better and more basic. But I was like, I see stuff. I'm going to defend. But I think it was my accident reading kicking in. I was like, I see stuff. Let's just defend. This is cuttable. So for black, you didn't 2 space jumps, very cuttable. Be very careful about that. And getting cut inside of white's area is very dangerous. Like, where do you go? Where do you go? Very dangerous. But it's fine. I just played defense. Defense first. All right, now I cap again because I'm building. Cap. E3-3, not actually a bad idea because, like I said earlier, the 3-3 is a possible invasion. Like if reducing isn't good enough, then consider an invasion. Where are the invasion points here? 3-3 and approach 4th line stones. Those are the invasion points. Play 3-3. 3-3 is easy. That's the one we know. We played it. And I just played joseki. I'm not going to play this one. Yes, this is a joseki, but it looks silly with this stone. So we're going to block. Right. There is a concern here, but that's a ladder. That's endgame. And yeah, black's okay. So it's just a lot of endgame. If I go this way, that's a question. This is getting into reading and stuff, so you'll learn more about these as you get stronger. But as you learn to see problems, you also learn to see the problem solutions. But if you don't see it, don't worry about it, right? It's okay. You're not going to be able to see all this stuff. And sometimes, actually, and this is one thing I find interesting, sometimes people will review your games and they're like, oh, you can't do this because of this one, so you should have gone like here or something, right? Like, I don't know if this is a good example because this one I think is fine, but sometimes that happens, and or the AI will be like, oh, this point existed, so you lost like 10 points here. Ignore it, okay? Because if you can't see it, you can't say I'm going to defend it. You can't defend everything. Not until you learn to see it. What you can do is say, okay, what are my hints for this shape? What are my hints? If you don't see any hints or don't understand it, you don't have to learn it right now, especially at 19Q. You don't need this endgame Tsuji at 19Q. This is like single digit Q. But like, what you can do, if like people keep showing you this, let's say it's a common shape that keeps coming up, you need to start finding hints for yourself. Because that's what shapes are, is like, the shapes are like hints. Okay? The hint here is you have a tiger's mouth and you have a peep that threatens the cut. You also have a 1-point jump and a peep that threatens the cut. So you can consider this move a double peep. Guess what? There's also one right here. A double peep. Okay? Once you start recognizing that shape, then you don't just magically say, oh, this shape exists, defend it. That's bad. I'd rather you lose the game. Because you see the shape, you need to see how it works first. And then you need to check, can I counter it? Okay, can I just play here or play here? Or can I play here? Or can I play here? Or can I play here? You need to like try to, this is good to review. Like when you review the game, it's great to explore these variations. Because you start coming up with, hey, there's a double peep. There's my hint. Okay, it's a shape that can be double peeped. Now I want to play out these variations, figure out what is the problem that I'm worried about. And sometimes you'll find the problem that you're worried about, and you'll find a way to punish it, and then you can use it against your opponent in the future. So I've had shapes like this, where I lost a game because of a shape I didn't know. Well, guess what? Losing that game made me remember the shape better, and 2 years later, I won 3 other games because of that shape. Because I remembered it. Because it stung. It hurt. I lost the game because of it. So I remembered it. And then a couple years down the road, it came up 3 times. And I was able to win. Using it. So it's better to lose and learn. So the question is, someone asked the question, but if the left is compromised by this Aji, wouldn't you have played a bit different with white before? Aji is not a reason, like weakness potential is not a reason to not play this way. You don't play this way if you don't read it. You have to play this if you're not reading this move. Now, if you see this move, you don't just defend it. You read, does this move work? If this move works, that's when you don't do it. Then you do something else. Okay? But don't just read, oh, this move works with these cuts. Also read, can I counter it? Once you read, can I counter it? And say yes or no. If you say yes, then trust yourself and block. Make them prove you wrong and learn a new shape. But if you do counter it, okay, you countered it, or if you don't counter it, you can't find a counter, then just don't do it. Just play this one. And then back off one, and then block. Now, I know you were talking about playing the double hane instead. That's kind of what we talked about on the bottom, choosing the joseki for the board, taking other stones into account. So he's talking about playing this one instead and going for the corner. But first off, this one actually is a little bit worse. But let's say you were deciding, then yeah, you could visualize the result and say which one works better with the A stone. Okay, which one works with the A stone? You can visualize both results. Like, you have this joseki and this joseki. You know both, but which one works better? And you're saying the left is compromised anyway? No. That's not correct. This is worth a lot more. The left is not that compromised. I could literally play here and then here. The left is mine. I just lose like 5 points. Right? Yeah, you can get the corner. And I say you're also looking for Sente, but I don't know how valuable Sente is. I really like this position though. What you could do, yeah, the corner is large, but this side is also large. I don't know, maybe you're worried about this cut, but that's a lot of peeps. Like, imagine like that. That's a lot of questions. Okay, so you like, as soon as you start asking me these things, I'm like, okay, but I see a little bit more problems than that. Sente is valuable, but I don't know. That's too much for 19Q. Like, we're talking, like, what is the value of Sente? Is it worth these points over here? I don't know. That's too much. I don't completely even think that Sente is that valuable. I think it's okay. On this board, anyway. Like, it might be if there's something really big. Then maybe. But I think it's not 19Q. We're getting into a little bit high-level discussion, and you have a very valid point, but it's more than I want to think about. Yeah, it's more than I want to think about for this game. Yeah, Sente is an argument for joseki choices, but I think, like, choosing a joseki for Sente instead of choosing a joseki for shape is maybe single-digit Q. Yeah. It's definitely something to think about. But there's a lot of questions over here, and I'm just like, just fix. Just fix. No worries. We haven't even learned, like, how to attack yet. We're just learning how to block territory. Don't worry about it. Too much. Anyway, the point of this is not the reading. Okay? This is what I want to stress. For 19Q, the point of this is not the reading. It's the habit. Okay? The habit of, I'm going to block, and then when someone reviews my game and shows me something, I'm not just going to immediately never play the shape again. I'm going to try to understand, what is my triggers, the double peeps, what are my possible counters, what is the way this works, and I'm going to understand this shape. And then when I see it come up in a game, I'm not just going to not play it. Okay? This is the learning process, the learning habits. I'm not just going to not play it. I'm going to check it in my head. I'm going to read it first. Then I'm going to try to counter it in my head. And if I can't counter it, that's when I won't do it. That's the habit. Okay? And then in the game review, maybe someone will show you, hey, there was this one counter or something, right? Or maybe you learn it at a higher level. But you're not going to just respond here immediately. You are going to develop the habit to read and check and then try to counter first before you just defend it. Okay? Do not defend blindly. I think it's a very bad habit. You prevent yourself from learning if you just defend blindly. You need to read this stuff before you play elsewhere. And if you don't notice, then why are you playing this move instead of this move if you don't even know that the double peep exists? This move is just clearly better. You don't notice, you don't notice. And that's okay. It's okay to not play perfect. You're not perfect yet. You're 19Q. Okay? We're not 9 Dan. We're not pro. We are learning good habits and good shapes first. Okay? Like here, for example. I actually applied that exact same thing here. So here, I see a cut. What do? I'm 19Q. I see a cut. I check it. Okay? So, I said, if my opponent plays here, okay, if I Atari, there's an Atari and a cut. That's bad, okay? So I can't Atari. So what about Nobi? Which is very common responses. Atari or Nobi. Those are your two responses mostly to cuts, okay? So I Nobi. Like, okay. Can my opponent play here and capture? No. Can my opponent play here and capture? No. Okay? What about here? Well, now I can Nobi. I can Hane. I can do other stuff, right? So this, I said I have a response to. Okay? But guess what? I didn't play it. I didn't fix. However, I was wrong. Because this exists. Atari, and then kill. This exists. Okay? Guess what else? There's a lot of Aji right here. This doesn't quite work immediately, but there's potential there. I didn't check that either. Because maybe at 19Q, I don't know that yet. But guess what? I'd rather lose the game and lose that position. I would rather my opponent play this clamp that I've never seen before, and I learn some new shape, rather than winning this game, because learning is more important. So if I don't see anything, I'm not going to defend it. If I don't see... Yeah, exactly. So no, you said you didn't know that. Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't you rather lose the game and learn this shape? Lose one game on the internet against a random opponent than to protect something that you don't know how it works, just out of habit. Don't protect this out of habit. You read that. You say, is there a cut? Yes or no? I said no. I'm going to ignore. And if I lose the game because of this area, well, guess what? I learn a new shape. That's better. That way I can use it in the future. I'll have more tools in the future. I will be stronger in the future by losing because of that shape. So I'm not going to defend something I don't see how to cut. Okay? That's the habit. That's the good learning habit. That's how we gain experience. Okay, so I went and I started Yosei. So this one, so when you're starting Yosei, how do I know it's Yosei? Because there's no more center to build. There's no more large frameworks. Everything's kind of blocked. Now we're just pushing borders. Okay, we're just pushing borders. So pushing borders equals Yosei. Yosei, you care about pushing the second line and first line first in Sente. So I should have probably started here. I thought this was Sente because I was like, oh, I can just... But then I realized this wasn't a common shape. So like, oh, I made a mistake. I didn't read my cut properly-ish. So I was like, okay, I lose Sente. Made a mistake, but I'm not just going to ignore. I'm not just going to leave it and hope my opponent doesn't see it. I made a mistake and lost Sente, so I'm going to fix. Whatever. My opponent takes Sente, I fix. My opponent takes pushes, I fix. And then my opponent plays a Goten move. This is what I'm waiting for. You know how many times you can actually gain points against your opponents at this level? How many times do your opponents play moves that do nothing to you, but you respond anyway? Look for those when you review your games. Look for moves like these. This does nothing. Does it affect my cut? No. I'm still connected. What about here? I'm still connected. I checked my cut. There's literally nothing wrong with my group. So why should I respond? I'm going to go play Yosei. And for those who are interested, explore this move. Try to cut it. Try to cut it. Yosei Tsujis are really cool and really powerful. Above this level, but this is something you can learn later, right? Go problems. There's Yosei problems too. Yosei go problems. Can you cut this? That's pretty deep. So second line Sente, first line Sente, push the borders in Sente, push the borders in Sente, push the borders in Sente. He played here. Okay, I defended that one. One stone's not important. Groups are important. Push the borders, and then push the borders, and then play a big move. Okay, after you run out of Sente, then you start playing big moves. Okay, and you wait for chances to take Sente again. So the reason for this move, like this stone right here, I don't have to save it. Like he played here. I could save it. I said no. It's too small. One stone is not worth saving. This is a hard habit to build, but you don't have to save every stone anymore. Like one stone, it's small. With two exceptions. One, is it cutting anything? Is it cutting any non-living groups? No. Black has a base. It doesn't cut. It's fine. Two, is it an area? So if this stone dies, this is just one stone. Let's imagine white captures it. That is the whole corner. That is an area, okay? That is not just one stone. That is an entire area. So the two exceptions for small stones being worth saving is if they're a cutting stone or if they're a group. And the definition of a group is stones that represent an area, or like more than 7, I believe. 7 stones or more, or an area. So it's not a group. It's not a cutting stone. It doesn't affect my connection. I'm still connected, which maybe I should have checked that more thoroughly. But like, if black goes here, I go here. Black goes here, I go here. I'm connected. Black goes here, I go here. Black goes here, I go here. I'm connected. I could even double Atari. I'm connected. So I just kind of know that. Black goes here. Actually, I just Hane. I'm connected. There's no cut. Nowhere for that to go. Nowhere for this to go. Maybe just here. I don't know. This is fine. I'm overthinking it. There's a cut right here. I'm overthinking it, right? I should have checked this more thoroughly. If this was cutting you, that's a cut. That's worth saving. Stay connected to your base. But maybe I glanced at that too quickly. If you connected here because of defense, that's okay. Okay? Just improve your judgment, blah, blah, blah. It's fine. But do not save this because you're an Atari. That's not a good reason. Okay? If your whole group's about to get cut, that's a good reason. But if you're just one stone, it's not a good reason. Okay. And then we play good endgame. All right. Then actually played here. This is what I mean. Sometimes Atari, sometimes you get Sente moves. They come up. Watch for those chances and then play them. And then you go back to the go-to moves. Don't miss those chances where they come up. This one was unnecessary, but I understand the fear. There is a lot of Aji in here. But I think it's too late for me to do anything. But yeah, I understand. I would probably be okay with this at 19Q or 16Q. At single digit Q, you cannot play this anymore. But it's fine for now. I understand the fear. Okay, we just play. Okay, and it was a half-point game. And I think that's really cool. So let's see. From the time we started endgame, yes, I know I could have killed it. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, AI. Okay, so from the time we started endgame, let's see. Right here, we said it's endgame now. It says black's up by 3.7 because white can invade. Let's ignore that. Let's see, as soon as black fixes this area. Yes. Okay, so black is up by 17.5 points after this area gets fixed. Yes, I know there's still a move in here. So maybe more than that. I don't know. Let's say the AI is not being very accurate because the AI is trying to read perfectly. But probably black is around 20 points up. So we probably gained like 20 points in endgame. And I think that might be a good estimate of what we gained in endgame. So 20 points in endgame. That's huge, right? And guess what? Sometimes at this level, you will make a mistake and your opponent will make a mistake and stones will die. Like 20, 30 point swings. That is common at this level. That is why I want you to understand 30 points or less of a score difference is okay. That's actually good at this level. What you don't want is like 50 or 70 or 100 points loss. At that point, just resign and go learn another game, go play another game. But 70 points, 50 points, that means you did maybe a lot of things wrong. But if you like make one mistake and a group dies and you lose by 30, it doesn't mean your entire game's bad. Okay? Maybe you should just figure out, like, did you make a mistake? Did a group die? Did you neglect defense? Maybe you made like one big blunder. That happens. It doesn't mean the game quality is bad. You shouldn't be mad about it. Okay? So 30 points or less, it can just be end game. Like, this was maybe a 20-point loss, and then end game happened, and I caught it back up. So maybe it was close, and then what if the game was close, and then end game happened, and I won by 20? Does that mean Black played bad? No. Black was even up until end game. So 30 points or less, I want you to consider those close games at this level. Once you get stronger, you'll reduce that point gap by more and more and more. But at 19Q, 30 points is okay. Okay, don't stress about it. Consider that like a good game. You played well. If you made a big blunder, like if something died, review it and say, okay, did I miss a cutting point? Did I miss a shape? Is there a shape to learn? Did I not make a base? Did I ignore it 5 times and then it died? Like, that's what you want to look for. It's like, yeah, you want to look for why you lost. You want to look for hints, shapes, experience, and learn from these things. And then slowly add more tools, more knowledge, and more experience. But this is why I'm telling you, go lose 100 games. Okay? Go lose 100 times. You will have so much more experience and shape knowledge to work with. Okay? But I want us to lose efficiently. I don't want to just randomly click stones around the board. I want you to be playing with basics and theories, and then learn the follow-ups, learn what happens when you play these things, and then review and just understand it a little bit better over time. After 100 games, I think you'll be probably like 10Q or single digit Q. If you're watching these videos and you get these experience, you get game reviews, you review your games, you ask people when you have questions, you look up anything you don't know, right? Like maybe a Go term or a joseki. You're playing the same opening for like maybe 25 games, then another opening for 25 games for your first 100 or something. Maybe star points for 50 games, 3-4 points for the other 50. That way you learn not just one, but both. If you're doing this efficiently, if you're 50% play, 50% study, like review, go problems, asking for help, watching lectures, like 50-50. If you're doing that in 100 games, you might be out of the double-digit Qs. If you're not, it's okay. If you're still 19Q, maybe you move 1 rank in 100 games, it's okay. Maybe you needed a concept and you just weren't understanding it, but then you finally understand it after 100 games. Maybe after 200 games, you finally understand it. Everyone learns at their own pace. What's the most important, though, is not stressing about losses and understanding the basics. Building good habits. That's what we're doing right now. We're not trying to win. We're not trying to kill things. We're not trying to play above our level. We're not trying to play these 9 Dan level shapes into Tsujis. We're just building habits right now and understanding how to move on the 19x19. That's it. And then after we get a few examples of these, we'll start learning, okay, what are our attack timings? What are some attacking shapes? Like, how do we check our opponent's cuts? We don't just check our cuts at 17, 15Q. We don't just check our cuts, we also check our opponent's cuts. But if you're missing your cuts, screw your opponent's cuts. Build the habit to defend your cuts first. Okay, build that habit. Then, once you have that habit, then start checking your opponent's cuts. Okay? Because defense is the higher priority right now. The higher priority. As you get stronger, you'll learn to see both your problems and your opponent's problems at the same time. But right now, defense first. Big moves. Defense and big moves. Defense and big moves. And we'll add on offense timings as well. But yeah, hopefully this is a good introduction. This is a long video, but I expect these to be a little bit longer than the small boards because bigger board, a lot more to talk about, right? But hopefully these will give you good starting points and understand like movement and stuff. And this isn't the only game. We're going to have lots of these games on the 19x19. Just take it step by step, one video at a time, and hopefully you guys will find these helpful. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That'll be it for the YouTube portion. So check the description for links that we talked about earlier in the video. And hopefully you guys found that enjoyable, found that helpful. And if you have any questions, message me in the comments below on Discord, Twitch chat, whatever. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time.